This video is sponsored by Marvel Strike Force. Welcome to another video, guys. Today we're going to be talking about 5 great decks that you could actually be hitting Easy Legend with on a budget. All of these decks are pretty cheap, and I will show you how you can even upgrade them if you have the dust for it. We're going to talk about their mulligans, their win rates, their general tips, so you guys have a better idea of what you could be doing with them. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you do, a like and subscribe would be awesome, and don't forget you can check me out live on Twitch each Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. But now, let's get into it. Before we get into the best budget decks, it's time for another update on my Marvel Strike Force journey. Throughout August, you have seen me build my account, experiment with different teams, and create my Alliance Kris 05 squad. I'm still enjoying the daily progression, and it's great seeing how strong my roster is, especially compared to my first video. If you want to join us, download Marvel Strike Force through my download link from the QR code or from the pinned comment, and use the promo code SPIDEY to receive Spider-Man and Hulk, which recently got a major rework, as well as a few extra rewards. We are now at the last week of the new Spider-Man event, but you still have time to jump in and get yourself some amazing exclusive rewards before it's over on August 27. And I gotta say, the time heist offers definitely skyrocketed my progress, and those helped me progress through much more content than I thought was possible. You can still join Kris 05 squad and progress alongside us. If you missed my full videos, check them out from my channel to get my complete overview and honest impressions after playing for almost 1 month. Download Marvel Strike Force through my download link and use promo code SPIDEY so you can push in the Spider-Man event before it's over.
You are not prepared!
And of course, the first deck on the list is gonna be Face Hunter. Face Hunter has always been a very good option for Easy Legend on a budget, and right now this season is no different. The only legendary which you really need in here would be Sylvanas, even though some lists do run things like Neri and so on and so forth, but that doesn't really make the deck better if you ask me. The other legendary in here would be Blood Mage Thanos, but since that is a core card, you're not gonna have to craft that one, so it really does keep the price nice and affordable. We do have quite a few important epics in here with a couple of Confront the Tolvirs, which you really should not be cutting, and we also have a couple of Arcane Tripwares, which again are very essential for this deck. The rest of it is basically commons and rares, however, and that definitely makes the price range for this deck very well under 5,000 dust. The game plan with a deck like this is simple. In the first few turns you're trying to establish a board with your good early game minions like Sizzling Cinder, like the Kelderay Fletcher. On turn 2 preferably you can be playing Underbelly Network or the weapon, and on turn 3 would be best if you go with Arcane Tripwire or coin into Beast Tripwire and swing a second time with the weapon so you can actually proc an extra 5 mana beast as soon as turn 3. The Sylvanas sisters are pretty good in here, giving you a lot of extra gas as well as AoE, and you do have yourself quite a lot of burn damage with things like all of the good 1-drop spells that can go face, the Arcane Tripwires, and everything gets repeated thanks to Confront the Tolvir. I mean the 1-drops of course, but yeah, you get it. Matchup wise, here's what we have right now for this deck. Z-Shaman could be a problem, Aggro Pally as well. Other Face Hunters could be a little bit faster than you, but for the most part you should be climbing with ease with this one. As for the mulligan, going first, you are going to be looking for your good minions like Sizzling Cinder, like Kelderay Fletcher. Curving into Arcane Tripwire would be great, holding onto the weapon is also essential. The location can be great, one of the sisters, preferably Varisa, and if you're curving into Beast Tripwire that can also be insane. Depending on the matchup, Sylvanas can also be great, especially against things like Shamans and other fellow hunters. On the coin, it's much of the same deal, so mulligan accordingly. For a bit more expensive options for this deck, you can definitely add something like Precise Shot into the deck. It's a couple of extra epics, however, so it's not that cheap, but as you see, you can definitely be going without it as well. I think this was the list I'm showing you. Definitely looks like it, so yeah, it's very proven, very high win rate, and close to 4,000 dust, which is definitely reasonably budgeted for this economy in Hearthstone right now. But yeah, like I said, you could be adding things like Neri, you could be adding things like Precise Shot, that kind of stuff, and heck, there's even versions with the Underbelly Tripwire action, but that is not necessarily better, but God knows it's a lot more expensive. On the second spot, we actually have Troublemaker Rogue, which is actually the cheapest deck on this list, and it's literally under 4,000 dust, guys. This is an actual top tier deck, like literally top legend tier, and people are doing some really broken things with it. However, it is definitely worth noting that the deck is probably due for a nerf. Like Jade Guardians is way too strong in its current form, a Lotus got nerfed, and I don't believe they're gonna nerf it again, but the Jade Guardians, I would not be surprised if this thing starts giving you 2 random 7-drop drops instead of 8 drops anymore, which still probably is gonna be a playable deck, but it's definitely gonna get hurt really soon, I do believe. Until then, you can definitely abuse the hell out of this deck, and as you see, you really don't have that much legendaries in this one. We do have Shadow of Demise, which is again a core card, same with Blood Mage Tauno, so the only legendary in here would be Garona, and technically speaking, you could try the deck without her, but realistically, shuffling King Lane into the opponent's deck over and over again definitely is very good. The Kingslayer is very strong, and Garona can definitely slash people in half a lot of the times. This particular list is opting for a little bit more defense with things like a couple of Doomsayers, which thankfully again is a free card you could be adding. So all in all, the only epics in here you need to be crafting would be the Jade Guardians, which are in danger of a nerf, so you're not actually risking too much dust. All in all, the game plan with this deck is you play as much 2-drops as you can in your first few turns, and as soon as turn 5 or 6, drop yourself some big Jade Guardian minions, and around turn 7, turn 8, plop the Lotus Troublemakers for as much as 10 damage plus each. Matchup wise, we don't have too much stats for this particular list, but you're gonna be great against Z-Shaman, and we could check out some similar lists like this one for instance. Not that impressive of a win rate, but definitely pretty big sample size. And here we get to see you're not gonna be that great against Egg Death Knights, Herald Warlocks if you manage to find them, everything else pretty good however. When you're going first with this deck, you are gonna be looking for your good 2-drops like Escape Artist, the Lotus Bookie is very amazing, the Bitter Bloom Knight, Jade Guardians could be a straight keep, especially if you have a couple of good 2-drops already, Doomsayer especially against faster matchups, Eventuality can be okay, Cult Neophyte, Kingslayer, that kind of stuff. Going second, again, much of the same deal, but here Shadowed Informant is also a lot more keepable because if you play this as soon as you top deck it or keep it in your mulligan with the coin, you get to actually discover potentially another Jade Guardian, which is absolutely amazing. How could you improve this deck? Honestly, it's pretty perfect as is, like sitting at about 3600 dust, it's definitely very affordable, and really most options don't really deviate too further from this price range, so it's very good as is. I wouldn't really recommend much of anything in terms of upgrade. This one already looks pretty top tier as is. There is a version without Garona, but instead with Maiev, so that is also a cheap budget option for you. I think Maiev was given for free, wasn't she? So that is also an option without Garona. But yeah, for the most part, no notes. I think the deck is perfect as is. Spot number 3 goes down to Corpse Death Knight, and this is actually a pretty decent deck to be hitting Legend from Diamond 5, so definitely don't scoff at it. It's not very expensive, which is perfect for what we're trying to show in this video, and it's not that hard to actually pull off. The deck is pretty straightforward, mindless aggro type deal, just get yourself a good board, and you have plenty of ways to get yourself a wide board over and over again, be it with Maiev, with Battlefield Necromancer, the Murmy is pretty sticky on the board, we also have the Reluctant Wrangler, the Tower of Ghouls is pretty disgusting as well, the Talanji Last Stand, the Shadow of Yesterday, that kind of stuff. You even get to have a lot more card draw with Remnant of Rage, so all around it's pretty good. The 2 legendaries in here would be Maiev as well as Falric, and Falric is free again, so that only leaves you with Maiev, which again, I do believe we got for free out of an event, but don't quote me on that one. Maybe I should have checked out doing a budget decks guide if she's free or not, but it is what it is. Anyway, for the matchups, here's what we have. Void Demon Hunter used to be a bad one for you, but nowadays that one is not something you're gonna see too much of, and you're probably even gonna be good against it with the nerf. Mug Shaman, however, would be a problem for you, Control Warrior and Egg Warrior as well, but those are not very often found in the meta. For the mulligan, going first, you are gonna try to curve off as well as you can with your good early game minions, and Maiev would be amazing, Battlefield Necromancer as well, the weapon, but for the most part you're looking for your good 1-drops. Curving into Reluctant Wrangler, or heck even into Towering Ghoul or Falric could also be pretty worth it. Heck, even Acolyte of Death might be worth it like that. Going second, again, basically same deal, so mulligan accordingly. As for improving this deck, it's already perfect, guys. No real need to actually improve anything on it. You're already running a pretty optimal list like this, and it's exactly at 4000 dust, which is pretty pleasant. For spot number 4, we're gonna go with Dragon Warrior, and this is actually the version with Warp Tooth. Arguably, you could even try the deck without Warp Tooth or Chainbreaker Hogger, and that is gonna make it absurdly cheap, but nowadays, that deck does not perform as good as it used to. It used to be an absolute top tier deck, now it's kinda okay-ish at best. But you're already familiar with Dragon Warrior, it's definitely a pretty decent deck, even though in this meta right now, not as great as it used to be, but still definitely pretty powerful. You do have yourself a good chunk of of board clear removals with things like Searing Fissures, like torches. With the weapon you get the poke, the location is very nice as well, and getting yourself a couple of warp tubes, albeit a little bit harder than it used to be, still pretty nice, and you could get to do that with the help of the Mother Duck and one more minion you have to have on the board or your face. The Prussian Slither Drake is still way too overstated, and Windpeak Worm also is gonna win you a lot of Face Hunter games, so all in all, great option, especially for climbing on a budget. Matchup wise, here's what we have according to the stats, and you're gonna see that Priest is not gonna be your friend, but those are not that popular. Mug Shaman is also on the negative, but the really good news is Hunters are gonna be great for you, Death Knights, Paladins, that kind of stuff, so all in all, you should be covering most of the meta with it. As for the mulligan, going first and second, you're basically gonna try and curve off with your good 1-2-3s, and the Prussian Slither Drake would be a perfect turn 4 for you, or even turn 3 when on the coin. Speaking of which, when going second, again, it does look pretty much similar. This is the deck I'm showing you right now, not the biggest win rate, decent sample size however, and yeah, it does run the Warp Tooth package. The list without Warp Tooth however, let's see how that one fares right now. Here it is, under 50% win rate, definitely not as impressive as it used to be, I can tell you that much. Like if we bring this down to 30 days before, this list actually used to be absolutely amazing, especially with the Warp Teeth, because those got nerfed recently, but now, yeah, here's how it looked like without Warp Tooth before, but right now the meta is just not as favorable for it, but it's probably gonna come back soon, so definitely don't sleep on Dragon Warrior, even if it's not perfect right now, it's gonna be really soon, hopefully. And the last deck on this list is gonna be a little bit going on a limb here, but I am gonna include Burn Mage in here, guys. This deck definitely does show a lot of promise, and if you're good with it, you should be getting yourself a lot of fast, quick wins on a budget. The only legendary here you need to be crafting would be Archmage Calic, and arguably I would test the deck without it, and I do believe it's still gonna work good, if not better, because right now Calic, turn 3 or turn 4 do nothing type deal really doesn't feel that amazing, so you might want to try the deck without it, and it might actually even perform better for you. You could change him for the Epic, you get the prep for 2 mana to go down to 0 to get yourself +1 spell damage instead, and that might indeed be even the better choice for you. But yeah, this deck I did show you a guide about not too long ago. We didn't do amazing with it, but let's not forget I was playing in top Legend meta with it, so the opponents are much fiercer, whereas from Diamond 5 to Legend, a super fast burn deck like this really works a lot similar to Face Hunter, and you should be getting yourself a lot of quick wins if you know how to play it. The way you play this deck is usually in the first few turns you want to be establishing a board with your good cheap elementals, and after that you basically point everything to the opponent's face, be it with spell damage or without, and usually most opponents stop kicking. We do have plenty of spell damage in here with Time Twisted Seers, with Dalnos, with Calic, and that way you get to amplify a lot of your spells with even more damage, and a few of your spells actually take the extra damage twice, like the Sleet Storm gets double buffed by the extra damage, so the second half is going to deal more damage to minions. Your Scorching Winds also gets the extra damage, so it's not gonna only deal 6 damage, but actually potentially 8 or even 10 if you did it with a Time Twisted Seer. And same case said for your Arcane Flow, which could even double up the spell damage if you unshatter it while giving it spell damage, which could be huge. Of course, I can't show you matchups right now because this deck simply does not have too much stats, but we could show a similar Burn Mage list. It's a lot different, but still worth a check. This one is also positive, so why not? And here we have it. Face Hunter might be a little bit too quick, Z Shaman as well, even though the Shatter card can definitely help you big time. Troublemaker Rogue definitely great, and Void Demon Hunter if you manage to find him, I guess. As for the mulligan, you are going to be looking for your good cheap stuff, mainly the minions. Going first, the Sizzling Cinder, the Raincaller can be amazing, Glacial Shard can also be an okay minion if you have nothing better to do, but of course Violet Spellwing would be even better. Holding onto the Living Flame can be huge, the Raincaller is amazing, the Conjured Bookkeeper especially if you have a 2-drop elemental already, and holding onto Arcane Flow also pretty worth it. Going second, it's kind of the same deal, still hold on to your good cheap elementals and you should be good. Like I said, this particular list does not have actual stats behind it, so take it with a grain of salt. For the last 7 days we can see that this Burn Mage is doing okay-ish at best. It's not very cheap and it's not very strong according to the stats, but I'm pretty sure you should be able to do well with the list I'm showing you if you really give it a try. Definitely worth mentioning Mug Shaman, and here you could be building yourself a reasonably budget version of Mug Shaman, bring it closer to 5000 dust if you, let's say, remove the weapon, even though it's obviously good in the deck. You could also try the deck with one less Ascendance, that kind of stuff, but for the most part, it's still gonna be a little bit above 5000 dust. Z Shaman does look a little bit too expensive to be included in this top 5, that's for sure, but if you have yourself some of the Herald cards already, you might. It's definitely not bad to be having Ultraxion and Deathwing, so that is automatically minus a couple of legendaries worth of dust, but it's definitely worth mentioning. Z Shaman right now quite affordable, but also quite much in danger of a nerf. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this top 5 budget decks list, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, a like and subscribe would really be appreciated. And don't forget you can check me out live on stream each Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. If you want to support the channel for free, download Marvel Strike Force through my download link below, and use promo code Spidey, and join the Kris05 squad. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video, or stream.